thank you everybody for coming out tonight and all the Board of Water Supply team, and I also want to recognize our board member, Jonathan Kaneshiro, and our stakeholder advisory group member, Cruz Vina, you've been to all, this is the fourth one? Thank you. And we have, Kim from my office here with her son. Thank you everybody for coming. Before we start, why don't we just take a moment to just remember the ohana on Maui, especially in Lahaina, that have lost their lives or are now displaced and lost their homes and businesses. Thank you. I was just here to talk about proposed water rates. Board of Water Supply, established in 1929, semi-autonomous. We're part of city government, but we're independent. We're under a water board, and Jonathan here serves on our water board. We receive no funding from the city, no property tax revenue, so people paying their water bills provide the funds or the money necessary to operate the entire water system, and also to fund our capital improvement program. And what we're proposing is only applicable to water and not to the sewer charges. So look carefully at your bill. It isn't the E&V sewer portion of the bill these rates will apply to, but just the water portion. Every minute, every hour, every day. This is what we do for our community. And thank you, BWS team, for all your hard work. So every day we provide on average 145 million gallons to meet the needs of almost 1 million people around the island of Oahu. And it takes a lot of infrastructure, our water sources, water tanks to store water for peak demand and for fire protection needs, 2,100 miles of pipeline, 21,000 plus fire hydrants in the system, and 170,000 customer accounts throughout the island that we serve. This is where the revenue that we get, and we project for 2024 that's going to be about $276 million across the whole year. This is how it's going to be spent. First of all, starting the upper right of this pie chart, look at capital improvement program and debt service, which is the loans we take out to actually also help to fund the capital improvements, the new pipelines, new tanks, renovate our pump stations, develop new wells. So that's in total about 27% of the total revenue that we receive. And then moving on to the right clockwise, you see that you have employee salaries, our salaries, and also our health and retirement benefits. And that's about 29%, so about a third. And about a third for operation and maintenance of our water system. And electricity has been a growing component of the money that we have to spend and pay each year. It's about 12%, or about almost $33 million that we anticipate for this year. What we've done with the past rate increases, the last rate increase was back in 2018 and was for a 5-year period. This is what we did with that funds. We put it to work in almost 500 projects, water system improvement projects or capital projects around the island, and a total cost of about $770 million. And then, some of the things that happened that we all experienced, COVID, the global pandemic, and some of the aftermath of COVID, inflation, and we're still dealing with these the costs, higher cost of doing business, purchasing materials, construction. We can see that total inflation was about, in the green line, about almost 21% over this period of time. But what we had projected back in 2017, 2018, with our proposed rate increases, we had projected that our total revenue increase was only going to be about 12.5%. So inflation reduce our purchasing power by almost 8%. The other thing that happened, and we all saw this last year especially, Even though in the purple line is our total kilowatt hours that we use to provide that 145 million gallons a day of water to our community of almost 1 million people, our kilowatt hours or our usage went down through energy efficiency, developing renewable energy sources, almost 3 megawatts of renewable energy PV power on our systems. But we saw that the energy cost factor on the electric bill went up for almost 3 times, from 10 cents per kilowatt hour to about 30 cents per kilowatt hour. So the net effect of that was our electricity bill increased quite drastically over time. Last year it was about $33 million for the whole year, or about 20% over what we had anticipated when we made the budget for that year. And Red Hill, the Navy's Red Hill tanks that leaked, that they're working to defuel right now. Because of the situation, the crisis that was created starting in actually many years ago, 80 years ago, but in particular 2021, when the water system of Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, the poor people there had jet fuel in their drinking water. And now we're responding by having to develop new wells, new sources, install monitor wells, and replace, in effect, about 17 million gallons of capacity a day. We don't know where the final cost will be of all the actions we need to take because of Red Hill, but we know this has had a significant effect on us. To respond to all these challenges that we've just kind of went through right now, we've had to tighten our belts. And some of the actions, we saw that last year, we were $5.5 million over our electricity budget, but we chose not to pass that cost to our customers. Instead, we took actions to tighten our belt to defer and prioritize replacement of vehicles and other equipment, look at deferring some of the less critical capital improvement projects. And the benefits that we were able to accomplish was we basically were able to operate in the black here, basically operate within what revenue was coming in, even though we faced increasing costs. So the FY 23 budget compared to the 24 budget, we kept it almost basically flat and only increased it slightly. But really it's about striking the necessary balance here of doing things that we must do to operate our water system and to improve our water system. So it's a balance between the mission of the Board of Water Supply to provide safe and dependable water service to our community, at the same time being cognizant of a rate affordability, especially for our customers that have the least ability to pay. So this balance it is not an easy balance, but these are some of the actions we're looking at to address this, to achieve this balance. So this is what our CIP, or Capital Improvement Program, looks like over the next 6 years. Just note the two and it's based on color-coded by category of project, from pipelines to security and control improvements, new sources, new water tanks. But you can see the two largest categories that we see over the next 5 or 6 years of types of projects that we have to implement. Number one, new pipelines, almost $425 million projected over the next 5 or 6 years. Number two is actually developing new water sources. Some of it to address the Red Hill issue with 3 wells shut down as a precaution to replace that capacity. But $399 million projected over the next 5 or 6 years for new source development to meet the needs of our community. I'm really sorry I didn't introduce myself. I'm Ernie Lau, the Manager and Chief Engineer for the Board of Water Supply. This is how our 170,000 customer accounts is broken down. It's segregated into five categories: single-family residential customers, multi-unit residential agricultural customers, non-residential or commercial governmental customers, non-potable and recycled water customers. And starting off with single-family residential customers, this class of customers, remember 170,000 accounts. About 90% or over 150,000 of those accounts are actually for people in homes, single family or duplex homes around the island. And they use about 35% of our total water usage every day. Next is the non-residential customers, about 5% of our customer base, but they almost use as much as our single-family residential customers. But look in the right column there, cost of service recovery. That is what we did a study. We determined how much it costs to actually serve those customers and how much we're receiving in terms of revenue from that customer class. And you can see for a single-family residential customer, we're only receiving 95% of the revenue we need to actually provide that water service to that category or class of customers. So they're being subsidized. And where are they being subsidized? They're being subsidized by our non-residential customers, which are paying 117% of the cost of service, cost to provide that service to them. So that additional 17% they're paying above 100% is being used to subsidize our single-family residential customers, our agricultural customers, and our non-potable and recycled water customers. And our proposal in these proposed water rates is to keep the same breakdown on where our revenue is coming from. Because we know, remember, our single-family customers are about 150,000 plus of the total customers we have, but they are some of the customers that are struggling the most with increased costs. So we think the non-residential or commercial customers should continue to help out and subsidize those customers. So our proposal is not to change how this is broken down. So this is the proposed water rate increases over the next 5.5 years. January 1st, a 10% increase. July 1st, another 10% increase. And then thereafter, increases on every July 1st from 2025 of 9%, 8.5%, 8%, and 8%. The last increase will be on July 1st, 2028. An important thing here to clarify is that all our customer classes will have the same total increase as a class. There'll be some differences in the single-family, multi-unit, and agricultural customers because their water rate structure is tiered. Instead of one rate per 1,000 gallons, their water usage or quantity charges are tiered. And this is what I mean by tiered. This is single-family and multi-family, like apartments or townhouse complexes. There are 4 tiers starting from the left, from 0 gallons, and this is the charge per 1,000 gallons. So it's the quantity charge. When you look at your water bill, there's 2 components to your water bill. There's a quantity charge that's tied to how much water you use as a customer, and there is a customer charge, a small customer charge every month based on your meter size. So look at single-family residential customer, 4 tiers, 0 to 2,000 gallons, above 2,000 gallons to 6,000 gallons at $5.25 per 1,000 gallons. And then you get from 6,000 to 30,000, and then at 30,000 you see that big jump from $5.85, the tier before, tier 3, to tier 4 at $9.25. So this is how those customers, our single-family, multi-unit residential, and agricultural customers are actually broken down into tiers. So that first tier, that first increment of your use every month and your the total amount of water you use, the first 2,000 gallons, it's something we call the essential needs tier. It's basically, we deliberately price this first 2,000 gallons that we offer to all our residential customers at below the cost of it, what it takes to provide that water to our customers. And the idea there was to make this first 2,000 gallons as affordable as possible to our customers. And we kind of thought that these might include our kupuna, that are 1 or 2 person families that don't use a lot of water each month, and tried to make that very affordable. So in our proposal, we're proposing to only increase the quantity charge for this first tier by 2.5% per year. Instead of, remember, 10%, 10%, 9, 8.5, and 8 and 8. This would only go up at 2.5% per year for this quantity charge in this tier. And 10% of our customers fall in this category. Now this is looking at all of our tiers for single-family residential customers. The blue represents the current charge per 1,000 gallons that is in place right now for each of the tiers from 1 to 4. And you can see the orange is going to be what will it be come July 1st, 2028. Basically the last increase in our proposed 5.5-year rate schedule. So you can compare first tier 1, 0 to 2,000 gallons. Right now, charged at a cost of $4.46 per 1,000 gallons. By July 1st, 2028, that'll only be $5.17 per 1,000. Again, trying to make that water as affordable as possible. But also remember there are two components to your water bill, the quantity charge and the customer charge. But then move to the right. You see tier 4, currently $9.25 per 1,000 gallons for every 1,000 gallons that you use above 30,000 gallons a month. 30,000 gallons a month for a single-family home is a lot of water. It's the equivalent of 3 average single-family homes in our system. So they're using a lot of water. From $9.25, the proposal is to take it up to $18.02 per 1,000 gallons. And the reason we do that, we're trying to say that and send a message, please conserve water. Reduce your usage if possible to get to the lower tiers 1, 2, and 3. Because at 30,000 gallons or more, you are using more than 3 average homes of water each month. And then on the left, on tier 1, to try to balance affordability. So the principle of these tiers is basically the more water you use, the more you'll pay for that water. And it's really there to try to encourage conservation. This is how it's structured over the 5.5 years of increases for the 4 tiers from 1 through 4. The purple represents the current rates in charges per 1,000 gallons. And each year you can see how it'll rise. So $4.46 for tier 1, going up on July 1st to $5.17. I think we might be off by 1 penny, but yeah. But you can see on tier 4 that large increase from $9.25 per 1,000 gallons to $18.02, again to encourage water conservation. Our water resources are finite on this island. They come out of groundwater, underground aquifers that are basically the source of the water is rainfall falling on our island in the Kolau and Waianae ranges primarily. So we want to make sure that we're good stewards of this water resources that only use what we need to use. This is an example of how to calculate your water bill. This is a customer, a single-family residential customer, 3/4 inch meter. Most of our residential customers have either a 5/8 inch meter or a 3/4 inch meter, basically the smallest meters in the system. And this usage is about 8,510 gallons. And for billing purposes, we round down to the nearest 1,000 gallons. So it would be using from 8,510 gallons, we would round down and bill at 8,000 gallons even. So you just take the components, the first 2,000 gallons, multiply that by the tier 1, and you come up with $8.92. Then you take the next 4,000 gallons of use for that month and put it into tier 2, and it's multiplied by $5.25. Comes up to about $21 for that tier of usage. And then the third tier, this customer never gets to the 4th tier, only gets to the 3rd tier. So the last 2,000 gallons will be billed at $5.85 per 1,000 gallons. So you can see the math here. Then at the very bottom, take the monthly customer charge, add that to the quantity charge amounts, and you come up with the total current bill of around $53.71. So this is what your typical bill looks like. On the left, in the colors, the green represents the Board of Water Supply portion. There are usually two bills on our water bill. One is Board of Water Supply, and we're doing a service to the Department of Environmental Services to bill the sewer charges. These rate proposed increases do not apply to E&V, only apply to the water portion. And I just want to point out here, and this is not trying to knock E&V, but usually the sewer charge on your water bill is usually a lot higher than the water portion of the bill. So what we see here on this example, $53.71 total water charges for Board of Water Supply. And you can see E&V on the right. On the right half of this page, it's the other side of your bill. So it shows the math, it shows the calculations on what tiers this customer's usage went into, what the total charge per tier, what the customer charge or the fixed charge was for that. The Board of Water Supply is different from our sewer charges, the E&V sewer charges. We've taken the approach and the philosophy that we want to provide more control to our customers to control the size of their bill by putting most of the charges for the larger customers in the quantity charged portion of it. So the less water you use, the less you pay in terms of quantity charge. You still have the fixed customer charge, and we tried to keep that fixed charge as low as we could to cover our meter costs, meter maintenance, billing, customer service. So this is the customer charge. It's tied to the size of your water meter. In this case, the 5/8 and 3/4 inch, which are most of our single-family residential customers, over 150,000 of our customers, of our total 170,000, have only that size. So you can see that the charges go up from there. The largest meter is a 12-inch meter. So the current 3/4 inch meter is paying about $12.09. The 12-inch meter, much bigger meter, more expensive, more maintenance, more difficult to install. It is charging on a monthly basis almost $600 a month. So this is tied to meter size. So this is just some examples of water bills for different types of customers. This is essential needs tier. So this is a low water user using about 2,000 gallons a month of water. You can see the current bill in green, and then you can see in different colors going to the right, January 1st, 2024. So the current bill is about $21.01. This includes the customer charge. It would go up to $22.44 as of January. And then in July of 2024, it'd go up to $24. And then go all the way, by the time the 5.5 years are passed, you're going to be at July of 2028, and it'll be about $30. So going from $21 to about $30. The next row below that, you can see the dollar change from year to year. So from the current rates right now, the current bill, it would increase by $1.43 per month, and so forth. And the increases look from year to year within the $1.40 or so to $1.75 per month. And you can see the percent change here, 6 to 6.8% at the highest, so 6 to 6.8%. This includes the customer charge. But remember, we're keeping the quantity charge for this first 2,000 gallon. That increased to 2.5% per year. Now this is the median water user, or half of our single-family customers use about 6,000 gallons a month, 6,000 gallons. So their current bill is about $42, and that would change shown here. And by July 1st, it'll be $65. And you can see the dollar change from year to year on a per bill basis. So you can see that it's around $3.50 to about $4.34 difference from year to year. The average water customer, about 60% of our customers actually use about 9,000 gallons a month. So the current bill is about $59, and you can see how it'll change over time. And you can also see the dollar change per year on a per bill basis, something in the range of between $5.56 to about $7.10. This is the high water user. So this is somebody that's using, and it's 3% of our single-family customers fall in this category. They're using over 35, in this case, in this example, they're using 35,000 gallons a month. So your current bill is right now about $228.66 a month. It'll go up to about $413.49. So you can see the change on a per month basis from year to year on this high water user. And again, I'm kind of stressing that what we're trying to encourage is these top 3% of our customers to really look at water conservation very seriously, because they're using, again, I say this, equivalent of more than 3 average homes use of water, and this is on one home. So now we come to our apartment or condo or townhouse users. This is anything beyond a duplex house. So these are multi-unit residential customers. We do this calculation on a per dwelling unit basis. So typically these customers don't have individual water meters, unlike the electric company. They usually have one large meter at their property line, and that feeds all the units within the apartment building or the townhouse complex. So we take the total usage, divide that by the total number of dwelling units in that project, and then we apply the tier structure and calculate their bill. This is just an example of some multi-unit residential customers, some samples. So the first line there is 272 units. They have a 3-inch water meter. Their per dwelling unit amount on a monthly basis is about 7,000 gallons. So their current bill is about 8,600 gallons. It would rise to about $14,593. Then you can see also another unit, another project, 144 units with a larger water meter. They tend to use more water on that project, so their per dwelling unit usage is 9,000 gallons. And then lastly, you see the 277 units, very similar to that first row of 272 units, but they have an 8-inch water meter and they use about 14,000 gallons per dwelling unit. And you can see the differences in the bills. So remember, I just want to point out again that these non-residential or commercial, industrial, government customers, they're paying actually more for their water than it costs to provide that service to them. So they're helping to subsidize our single-family customers, our agricultural customers, and our non-potable recycled water customers. They have a different rate structure. Their rate structure is what we call a uniform rate structure. It's a charge per 1,000 gallons of usage, regardless of how much they use. So $5.27 per 1,000 gallons being used right now, being charged right now. And this is what the proposed rate increases will be for that customer class all the way out to July 1st, 2028. And this is an example of some typical non-residential or commercial governmental customers. You can see restaurants, hotels, churches, office buildings, large industrial customer, a large shopping center. I just want to point out the large industrial customer there has a large meter, an 8-inch meter. Their monthly usage is about 31 million gallons of water, over 1 million gallons a day. Their current water bill is about $164,000, almost $165,000 a month. Their bill would go up to $275,000 per month. We also propose to continue the reduced quantity charge or cost per 1,000 gallons to support agriculture. These ag water rates have been around for over 40 or 50 years with the Board of Water Supply. And we propose to continue to do that and also continue to provide a reduced cost for our recycled water customers, our non-potable customers, because we want to encourage their use. We want to incentivize our customers where we're available to use this type of water and save our precious high-quality drinking water for other higher uses such as drinking, domestic use for our customers. So the ag water rates is a tiered rate structure. The first two tiers, Tier 1 and Tier 2, are similar to the single-family customers because we anticipate that a farm will usually have a farm dwelling on the farm. Well, the farmer is living on property and has a house there. But beyond that, over 6,000 gallons, this is where they actually get a discounted water rate to support agriculture, and it's a uniform rate going out there. Anything above 6,000 gallons will be billed. Currently, it's $2.12 per 1,000 gallons. It would go up to $3.56 per 1,000 by July 1st, 2028. This is just the non-potable and recycled water rates where we're proposing. Again, they're lower than the potable rates, but the idea is to encourage and save our precious potable water, our high-quality drinking water for other uses, and where appropriate, encourage the use of water to irrigate golf courses, water to irrigate landscaping or parks. And a lot of this is happening on the Eva Plain in the Kapolei area. You know, there are three fundamental needs for people, at least in my mind, to survive, to live. One is clean drinking water, safe drinking water. Number two is food. You need food to survive. Three is shelter, having shelter from the elements. So our board, as a policy, is still proposing to continue the waivers of certain charges to support development of affordable housing units and homeless housing units. And this program has actually, it's been around for now about 5 years, and we've waived about $2.5 million of charges, our meter charge and our water system facilities charge, or our impact fees. And we've actually reduced the cost to projects trying to develop this housing for this critical area of need. Also, you know, we saw the fire in high-rise buildings, our older apartment buildings, residential apartment buildings, no fire sprinkler systems. So in this waiver, we actually waived the cost of the fire meter. We don't charge the cost of water for fire protection. That is provided free, but there is a cost for a separate fire meter. And for people to convert to sprinkler systems, we're waiving that charge to our customers. Not too many condominiums have taken it up, but one has, and it saved them about $13,000. We're also proposing something new. And again, this is along the idea of foods, encouraging and supporting food security, an important community value for our island. And this is actually a new program. What's proposed here is for a new farmer starting up that wants to get into a farming that only requires a 3/4 or 1-inch meter. Our proposal is to waive the installation fee and water system facilities charge to help reduce some of that first cost for a farmer to get into that business. This program we basically got the support, and thank you, Representative, also for supporting the CIP project to actually drill a new well to support agriculture in the Kunia area. And that was a $1 million contribution by the state of Hawaii. So what we are proposing here is to waive the fees until we use up that $1 million, apply it like a credit to new farmers starting to get into the business. And you know, some of my family, my uncles were farmers, and I know it's not an easy job. It's a 7-day-a-week job. It's hard, but we gotta try to support it because it's important to have food security for our community. We also will continue to offer water conservation device rebates for residential customers, but also for commercial business customers. And we are always looking to expand that program. And we are considering some new programs, some of it which we have already implemented. Outreach to our top water users, like hotels, big businesses, large condominiums, townhomes, to try to work with them to encourage them to practice water conservation to be more water efficient. Also, this is something new. recognizing that affordability for our kupuna is one of the biggest challenges they face. It's a direct install program where upon referral, usually by like the Elderly Affairs Division of the Department of Community Services in the city, or other different nonprofits that are working with our kupuna on referrals to actually, if the kupuna agree to it, to go into their home to look for leaks in their home. Do something what we call a water audit. And where there are opportunities to like replace a water inefficient high water using shower head, replace those shower heads, put aerators on their faucets, and also make sure that the kupuna have opportunity to get the appropriate water conservation rebates from our community. So it's really, as I get older too, running toilet is harder to hear, harder for me to hear that, but a running toilet is a famous waster of water in a home. And a toilet can run and use a lot of water, waste a lot of water. So working with our kupuna. And this program actually came at a suggestion at one of the mayor's town hall meetings. So we're kind of following up on that. We have other charges, a fire meter standby charge. Again, remember the water to fight fires is free from the Board of Water Supply, but the meter has a cost to maintain it, to replace it, to install it. So we have a proposed rate increases for that. Standby charge for emergency connections, that's something that's negotiated with the manager, with different utilities or even the military. The water system facilities charge, which was adopted back in 1990s, we propose no change to that. That's our impact fee. We still propose to keep the option for environmental regulations compliance if that's something, new regulations came into effect and we had to take action to address that, and it wasn't accounted for in our rate study, that we can try to recover some of the costs for that. The power cost adjustment, that's optional, but we want to keep that there. We haven't exercised it, I think in the last 30 plus years, maybe 3 times. So we look at that and we are very careful on how we actually implement that, but we need that option there. So the fire meter standby charge basically provides that meter, assures that it'll be there when they need it for their automatic fire sprinkler systems, their fire hydrants and wet standpipes. This is charged on a per meter size. And you can see the charges. They're not very much, but how they will change from where it is right now in the green to all the way to the right to fiscal year 2029. We've been in this rate development process, rate adoption process since January 2022. We're right now in the public input on the draft rate proposal stage, started back in July, going all the way through the end of September. And for possible consideration by our water board, our 7-member board, for adoption possibly in the September-October timeframe. Probably more the October timeframe. It all depends on the feedback we get from our customers, so we value your feedback, your mana'o. That's important, and that's why we're out here tonight. There are ways to provide comments. This is the last 4 community information meetings. We're going to about 17 to 20 neighborhood boards across the island where they've requested us to come and do presentations. We're also available to present to any groups that you might think that you would like us to present to. I just did one for the General Contractors Association just this week. But these are ways that you can communicate. You can mail a letter to us, U.S. Postal Service. That's our address, 630 South Maritania Street, Honolulu, 96843. You can email us at bwsrates@hbws.org. We're taking feedback up to the end of September, or you can also call us on the telephone at that phone number, 808-748-5041. And that kind of basically is my presentation on our rate proposal here. Are there any questions? And if you have a question, please come up to the microphone because we are recording this and we will be replaying it on Olelo. You can tell me too if I confuse the heck out of you, so it's okay. But any questions? And hi, Representative, nice. Thank you for joining us. No questions. I really appreciate you coming out tonight. I'll just throw one thing in, and this is not related to rates. Just a quick update on Red Hill. I know the last time I was here in this cafeteria at our mayor's town hall meeting, there was some concerns about the Red Hill situation. The Joint Task Force, the Navy's Joint Task Force to defuel Red Hill, the fuel tanks and the pipelines, they're still on schedule. They'll start repacking the pipeline or putting fuel back into 2 large pipelines that run from Pearl Harbor all the way to the 20 tanks about 3 miles inland. They're going to start to fill those pipelines around the August 28th or August 29th. And that'll put about 1 million gallons of fuel in those pipelines. Then come mid-October, that's when they propose to start to gravity defuel or empty out the tanks, and there's about 104 million gallons still stored in about 14 of the 20 tanks. And they're going to start to drain that by gravity, by opening up the valves, flowing it into tanker ships that will come into Pearl Harbor. And they estimate they may need 10 to 11 large tanker ships to take the fuel out of Red Hill. Any questions on Red Hill, anybody? But if not, thank you everybody for coming. I'll be here. If you have any questions, please feel free to come up to me and ask me any questions. I have the Board of Water Supply team here. I won't force them to go through introductions, but thank you, BWS team, for coming out. And our communications team has worked hard to do the setup. If I could ask the BWS team to help with the breakdown on this last meeting so that it makes the work lighter for our communications team. So mahalo everybody for coming out tonight. We are here to serve our community. Thank you.